for 25 years. So let's start with a round of applause for that. She started building a business here in 2010, and since achieved the rank of Royal Crown Diamond. So I'm honored, and I want to bring up our next guest and speaker keynote for tonight, and you're going to hear from Melissa Peopping from the U.S.
Thank you. Some of you know me as the DIY girl. Perfumes, right? Getting up on stage in Australia in a red dress and a polka dot apron. Some of you know me as the girl from the small town in Minnesota. Some of you know me, Savvy Minerals. I'm that girl. How many of you know how many people live in the town I live in? You guys don't? Corporate doesn't count. Do you guys remember? Okay, you think 35,000? Okay. Who's going to give me a different number? She thinks it's 30. I live in a small town. 2,000? 600? 300? Any other guesses? Who? 80? That'd be a small town. Who said 80? Can you stand up? 76, actually. So. I love you. Thank you. Sylvia, hi! I still have the necklace you gave me. 76 people. I live in a town of 76 people. I was telling the guys earlier in my town, we have 3 bars and 1 church. And one of the bars is in the basement of the church. I'm Catholic. Mass is stressful. There are so many excuses that we can make when it comes to building our business. There is so much opposition that we have to be faced with. And it might be easy, and there are times it is going to be really easy. There are times that all you have to do is mention the word Young Living, and people will want to enroll. And it will seem absolutely seamless and flawless, and at times it might almost seem too easy. And there are times that you are going to have to prove it. There are times you're going to have to prove it against the opposition, against the fear in your mind, against that itty-bitty committee that goes on in your own head. You will have to prove it to the people around you. You'll have to prove it to yourself. But here's how you win. You have to say, either way, I'm all in. You have to be committed to your goal. You have to be locked into that vision. You have to see it for yourself. How many of you could tell me exactly where you will be in great detail in this company in 5 years from now? Without any fear, without any doubt, and without any hesitation. If I were to sit down with you and tell you where I will be in this company in 5 years from now, I would give it in such detail you could taste it. That's the only way you're going to get there. It might be easy, and you might have to prove it. But either way, you have to ask yourself if you are all in. Your ability to do this is within you. The journey to get there might not be the easiest journey, but this ability is within you. I cannot tell you what to do. I cannot tell you the mindset to have. I cannot give you the education. I cannot give it to you. I cannot pour this into you. What I can do is I can share with you some simple truths that will help you to realize that all you have to do is bring this to the surface, because there exists within you a grand reservoir of talent and gifts. And all we have to do is we have to bring this to the surface for its greatest and fullest expansion without any hesitation whatsoever. This is finding that true essence of who you are, not who you think I think you should be, and not who you think they think you should be, but who you want to be. I love this poem by Bill Gove. If I want to be me, I've got to be free. Not the me that I think you think I should be, not the me that he thinks, she thinks I should be. But if I want to be free, I got to be me. But I got to know who the hell me is. You will never discover your truths. You will never discover your hidden talents, and you certainly will not be able to bring them to the surface if you are so clouded by the noise and distraction of the fear of other people, the opinions of other people. You have to get so laser focused on where you are going. Everything gathers around that simple energy that you hold. And I want you to think of it as this core, as this nucleus, this center, this raison d'etre. It's just this ball of energy within you. And whatever energy that is, everything is gathering around it and taking form from it. So if you are in a negative mindset, if your energy is negative, then everything will gather around that and take form from it. And if your energy is powerful and positive and radiating and so focused on the future and where you're going, then everything will gather around it and take form from it. And if you don't believe me, when's the last time you walked into a room and just felt at the pit of your stomach something was off? Or you hung around with certain people and it really started to bring you down? Or you've walked into a room and you've seen the Malaysian group or the Filipino group posing for a picture. That was an energy. And when other people heard you, they ran into that group and they wanted to be a part of that. And it wasn't just about being in the picture. It caught attention. It caught momentum. Because whatever energy you are holding, everything will gather around that and take form from it. When you really realize how much your energy, your attitude plays a role in this, people will line up behind you to get what it is you're serving. They will want to be in that energy. They will want to be in that vision. The path ahead, where you want to go, is so clear. If you just cut out the noise and distraction around you, it doesn't matter what's going on around you, but you have to be so aligned on where it is you're going. If you listen to the noise and the chatter of everything happening around you, you are going to bounce around like a ping pong ball. You have to be so aligned with what it is that you want and where you are going. Earl Nightingale said that you could take a seed of a sweet corn and plant it right next to a deadly nightshade, and the two will grow into what they were determined to be. So a sweet corn in the presence of a deadly nightshade can still grow and be what it is. And the deadly nightshade can still grow and be what it is. They're predetermined paths. If you really lock into what it is that you want, create that vision, and lock into how that feels. How many of you have heard of the law of attraction? The Secret? Yes. Okay, well that's great. But the law of attraction is a secondary law. So you can't just wish for it, right? And then go sit on the curb and eat a sandwich and wait for it to show up. And that's what a lot of people thought the law of attraction is. I'm just going to think happy thoughts. I'm just going to think happy thoughts. I'm just going to think it into existence. But they were missing the primary law. And the primary law is the law of vibration. This is your energy. This is the feeling that you give it that puts it all into motion. You cannot stay aligned on the vision of where it is that you want to go if you are going to get so consumed with the drama, the negativity, and everything that's happening around you that's trying to pull your energy down. That's an exhausting way to try to get to the goal. An absolutely exhausting way. You have to learn how to control this noise and distraction around you. Choose. It's a choice. If I hear somebody say something, we're talking about the business, and they might say, yeah, but the economy is really bad. I think to myself, I do not consent to that. The economy isn't doing bad, you're doing bad. That's what I'm saying in my mind. Because I want to reject that thought. I don't want that thought. I don't want to take that with me. Because if I did, what am I going to think about? Well, what if the economy is bad? What if this kid is too expensive? What if this is not where people can spend their money? And then what am I in aligned with? I'm in alignment with fear. I'm in alignment with disintegration of my team, disintegration of the goals. But if I can hear that comment and say, no, I reject that, then I am controlling the noise and the distraction around me. I'm rejecting that thought and staying aligned with where it is that I want to go. And it's all about staying aligned with the highest visions that you hold for yourself. This goes so far beyond your freedom of mind and freedom of thought, and it goes straight into mastery. This is, when you learn these skills, this is like unlocking a new level of earth. It is living life like you have never even thought possible. And people around you will not be able to figure out what you're doing different. You will talk differently. You will show up differently. It's like you don't even walk. It's like you levitate. You just float. Because you've tapped into such a higher frequency that all of a sudden you reach a point where it doesn't matter what noise and distraction is happening around you. You know exactly where it is that you are going. And nothing can take you off this course. But you're going to have challenges along the way. That cannot be denied. So this is it might be hard, it might be easy, but either way, I'm all in. I look forward to the opposition. I look forward to the challenges because it tells me that when a new challenge has presented itself, I now have an opportunity of growth in front of me. And that growth is going to be required for me to be able to get to the next level. Growth happens in an orderly sequence. I want you to think for a moment, if I had a row of building blocks here, all lined up. And my higher power, if you want to say God, the universe, whatever your higher power is, God has lined these blocks up for me. He said, Melissa, I have heard what you want. I heard your desires. I heard your goals. I've mapped out a plan. And all those building blocks get lined up. And then I come along and I think, yeah, this one's full of drama. So I don't want that one. So I'm just not gonna, this one isn't so fun, so I'm gonna pick that one up and move that away. Well, if I had an orderly sequence of growth perfectly lined out for me, and I miss one of those steps, I'm not ready to go to the next one, am I? This is what's called the law of polarity. Everything just is. Nothing presented to you is positive or negative. It just is. You can choose to look at it as a negative, or you can choose to look at it as a positive. So now when something bad happens, I remind myself, everything just is. All right, so I need to think about this for a second. And if I were to rate this on a scale, what would I rate this experience right now? And sometimes, you guys, it's bad. I'm like, I would give that a -10. But the law of polarity says that to everything presented, there is the seed of equal or equivalent opportunity. It's going to swing the equal way in the other direction. Did you ever see one of those metal row of balls and you hit one? That's polarity right there, right? Equal on both sides. So if I'm -10 on the this is bad scale, what's on the other side waiting for me? A +10, right? So some of my leaders and I will get together, and if something's going on and it's bad, we'll talk about it, and I'll go, that's bad. That's really bad. That's so bad, this has got to be so good. We immediately recognize, yeah, this one's not good. This is not good. And then it doesn't take long before someone says, this is so bad, it's got to be so good. And we immediately come over to the exact opposite, the law of polarity. Okay, what can come out of this? What lesson is this preparing us for? What growth is this preparing us for? Because this is so bad, one of you guys are going to rank up the diamond like in the next 5 minutes. This is so bad. So we just know that everything presented is neutral. It just is. You're going to give it its value. When's the last time something bad happened and you decided to stay over here? And not only did you decide to stay over here, you called your friends, you called your upline, you called your downline, probably sent a message to corporate, then you called your neighbors, then you called your dog groomer, then you had a family get together and you told everybody at the family. You just created your itty bitty pity committee and you are chairing it and you're bringing a whole lot of people along for the ride. But what happens if you just let it stay there, recognize, because you can't ignore, and then come right over here and say, all right, that is so bad, it's got to be so good. I remember when my mentor, Bob Proctor, if any of you know who Bob is, we were having a chat, and I was telling him about something bad going on. He said, you know, Melissa, I was once traveling and talking, and I'd get to the hotel room at night, and I'd take notes, and I was working on writing my next book. He said he got in a New York City taxi cab, got out of the cab, and realized he forgot his notebook. He had the whole book written, and he forgot it in the cab, and they couldn't locate it. And he said, all I thought was, this is so bad, it's got to be so good. And he ended up rewriting it again, and wrote it even better than he could have the first time. What if you could look at a decline in numbers, a decline in team, maybe you had a class that didn't go so well, and you didn't dwell on it. You recognized it, but you realized this is an orderly sequence of growth. And here's what I mean by an orderly sequence of growth. This was part of a lecture given, and I have read this daily, if not multiple times a day, for years. And it's so powerful when you really start to break it down. And my mind is a center of divine operation. And the divine operation is always for expansion and fuller expression. And what this means is the production of something beyond anything that has gone before. Something entirely new, not included in my past experience, but proceeding out of it in an orderly sequence of growth. This also reminds me that anything I've done in the past is nothing compared to what I have yet to accomplish. So you take your greatest achievement and your greatest milestone, and it's nothing compared to what you are yet going to accomplish on this journey. Because it means the production of something beyond what has gone before. Now let me tell you this in a different way. You are here as silver. You all know that. Doing the things that got you to silver are not going to be the things that are going to get you to Royal Crown Diamond. You have to expand your awareness And you're going to have to do some different activities, and you're going to have to think different, and you're going to have to show up different, and you're going to have to lead different, because it's an orderly sequence of growth. Now, the second part of this is, therefore, since the divine cannot change its inherent nature, then it has to operate the same way within me. So consequently, I love this part, in my own special world of which I'm the center of, it will move forward to produce new conditions, new obstacles, new lessons, new challenges, new adversity, and it will always be in advance of anything that has gone before. So when I have the opportunity to be faced with a new challenge, a new obstacle, and it is a little bit heavier than anything I've gone through before, I know that new next level of earth is about to unlock for me. And I know that the next piece of growth is presenting itself. This mindset change alone could change the entire trajectory of your team going forward, especially those who only know to show up and be in a negative state if something negative is going on. You can show them the way, and this isn't toxic positivity. I think that was made up by a really negative person who just doesn't know how to be happy. I don't believe in toxic positivity. Mindset is powerful because it is everything. Now let's chat about something for a second. How many of you, and you've got to get honest here. You don't have to raise your hand, but at least get honest with yourself. How many of you in the past few years might have been a little paused or paralyzed by new challenges? And you felt defeated. And you started to doubt. You started to doubt what you're doing, if you're doing the right thing. And you started to get really confused. And you might have started to become a little uncertain. Uncertain of your talents, uncertain of your abilities, and you might have even found yourself saying, well, maybe this is as far as I can get. And you started to feel yourself depleting. And you found that it was getting a little bit more difficult. Or you just felt entirely alone on this journey. And you really didn't know what to do with that. And maybe you even thought, this isn't the right path for me. Everything happening in those moments was part of an orderly sequence of growth. Those new challenges that presented themselves presented new lessons, new people coming into your life to be able to show you the way through that challenge. But if you stayed stuck at this is hard and this is a challenge and I cannot do this, then you missed those opportunities. You missed those new relationships coming into your life, and you missed those new lessons. Instead of feeling defeated, realize that you hit what was your max. I don't ever feel overwhelmed in this business. I change that dialogue and I say, thank you, because overwhelm is the abundance of everything I've been asking for, and it is coming in right now. Everything all at once, which means, who just got chills? I'm the only one. No one got chills at that thought? Yes. You're not overwhelmed. It is the abundance of everything you have been asking for. But what happens the moment you get overwhelmed? I need to take a break. I need a moment, I need some time. I've got to step back for a minute because this is too much. That's what most people say when it gets overwhelming. I have learned to say, this is the abundance of everything that I've been asking for, and now I'm presented with this new opportunity to prove it, that I can handle it, that I can put it in order, and that I can take this on. Because if I don't, then I can only go back to the schedule and the routine that was comfortable for me, which means I will only continue to get exactly what I have right now. And who here wants more than they have right now? By the way, wanting more is not greed. Wanting it all because you're worried there's not enough is greed. So you can change that language in your head. So now who here wants more? I'm not continuing till everyone wants more. More money in the hands of good people doing good things is what Mary Young has said we need to do. Money is an amplifier. It does not make you a bad person. So for those of you that have a paradigm around money, this is your crash course in getting over it. Are you ready? Oh, no one needs to get over it? You want to hear the crash course in this? Money does not make you a bad person. Money is an amplifier. So if you get money and you become a bad person, or you see someone become a bad person, that was in their core from the beginning. But you are all good people because you're in this company. Young Living is a high frequency company and we attract high frequency people. So when you get more and it amplifies who you are, it brings more of that good to the surface so you can do more with it. And you might be thinking, but what more am I going to do? You better figure that out. Because money will not just flow to you because you want it. It doesn't work that way. Money is a tool. And you have to have appropriation for it. You have to know what you are going to do with it. You have to know how you are going to use it. Otherwise, money will use you. And you don't want it to go that way. So, if you're going to set an income goal, then you also need to write down what you're going to do with it. And that doesn't mean you have to give it all away. We recently did a massive remodel on our home. Do you know how many jobs that created? How much money that kept because we hired local talent? And you listen to Jacob talk about how his dad was able to go out and buy the trucks to fill the gap, and he did it all through local businesses and got the materials for local businesses. Do you know what you're doing to your local economy? If you want to complain about the economy, go do something about it. Create your own economy and then feed your local economy. It is so powerful to be able to do it. And then you can do good too. We put a new roof on our church. We bought smart boards for the school. I can create more jobs with what I do. When you get to Royal Crown Diamond, do you think you can do it on your own? You're going to need an assistant. You're going to need people. Think of all that you can do. Think of all that you can create. But it takes money to do that. I recently ran for our school board, and now I'm on the school board, because I'm just sitting around thinking, what else can I do with my time? School board would be a good idea, so that's been super fun. And I had a school board meeting the night before I left for Croatia, and I was listening to the needs of the school. We need a new handicap accessible bathroom. It's not a want, that is a need. We need some renovations to our pool, and we recently tried passing a referendum for it and it failed. Now, all I could think of was, I really need to unlock that next level of earth, because these are not conversations we would be having if I could fund that project or fund half of that project, or do a fundraiser and do a matching contribution and do anonymous donations. I want you to think about what you can do in your local community. When you allow yourself the space to take those little dream walks and think about what you can do, could you build a new school at the academy? What could you donate to the Young Living Foundation? And again, not saying that you have to give it all away, but you become really powerful in what you can do with the goods that you've been given, because to whom much is given, much will be required. So write down and appropriate that money that you desire. You can't just say you want it. It has to have a function. Then it flows to you. When I start getting uncertain about if this is the right path, am I doing the right thing, I immediately lock into some of those visions. And I go, remember the future. I'll say that again. I remember the future. I create future memories that are so vivid and so clear, and I lock into them so often that there's times that I have to say, wait, did that already happen? Did I already do that? I remember when I made Royal Crown Diamond in Young Living, I was at the Young Living Beauty School in Utah. It was 2017. And I'll never forget, I was walking into the front door at the Zermatt, for any of you that have ever been there. And I was with my assistant, and the woman that was in front of us stopped, and we almost bumped into her. And I kind of stepped back a little bit, and I looked at my assistant, and I'm like, what is she doing? And she takes a Sharpie marker out of her bag, and there at the door was the agenda, the lineup of speakers. And it said, Melissa Peopping, Crown Diamond. And I watched her, not knowing, she did not know I was behind her. I watched her take a Sharpie marker and write Royal in front of Crown. I hadn't achieved it yet. I was still Crown Diamond at this point. And I looked at my assistant and I said, should I correct her? And she said, no, that would make this more awkward than it already is. You should just let it go. And I knew I was getting close on these numbers. It just hadn't happened yet. But I hadn't told anybody how close it was yet. Like, it was so close, I was refreshing. Every 30 seconds it was so close. All I needed is for one person to buy a premium star kit and I was in, right? Like, when you're up in those numbers, that's close. And while I was there, and I think it was the next morning, the numbers finally flipped, and it said Royal Crown Diamond. It was the most magical thing to wake up to. The most magical thing. I had to look at it so many times just to be sure. And then what happened next was so odd and so strange. There was a part of me that thinks, am I supposed to go scream this from the rooftop? We were on the balcony, and you're in like, it's like a Swiss Alp setting, but you're in the mountains of Utah. And I thought, am I supposed to like fling open the doors like Heidi from the Swiss Alps and like yodel my success? Like just be so happy? Like, what am I supposed to do? I was so calm. And it almost felt like there was nothing to scream and celebrate. And so I called my mentor, called my coach. I'm like, what just happened? And he said, you have celebrated this in your mind so many times that you're already so focused on the next milestone that this is just another day. All you did right now in this moment was connected with what you created. You connected with the future. You brought two states of consciousness together. So there is nothing to celebrate. It's a calm, humble feeling. And it was so powerful and it was so incredible. And then when I started calling people and telling them, I'll never forget, I called a good friend of mine, and he was pretty connected to Young Living at that time, and he goes, wait a minute, but weren't you already? And I thought, this is getting weird. The lady writes it on the Sharpie, I'm calling, really close friends and telling them this excited news, and they're like, but weren't you already? I thought you were already. I never walked around saying I was a title I wasn't, but it was how I carried myself. It was how I showed up. It was how I showed up at corporate events. It was how I showed up to convention. It was how I showed up to my cross line, my Young Living family. It's how I showed up in my community. It was a certain je ne sais quoi. It was an energy. It was a feeling. I had written my self-image statement so many times as a Royal Crown Diamond from the day I decided to start building my business in 2010, all the way up to that moment in 2017. I had celebrated it in my mind so many times that this is just who I became, that without even having to say my goal or state it, people felt it. That's what I mean by I can tell you in such detail where I will be in 5 years, or I just continue to show up how I am because I'm locked into who I will be in 5 years, that you will be able to feel it. Are you that locked into Royal Crown Diamond right now? Because you need to be. You truly need to be. Because those moments that you start to feel that little bit of uncertainty, you will be able to look straight ahead to where it is that you are going, and you will not have to doubt the process or be uncertain about it. Those moments that I felt completely alone, as I would reach milestones, I would have friends that would just kind of exit stage left. My circle of friends changed. Maybe people didn't understand me as well, but I found myself in a place of solitude. And this one was a hard one for me. And what I realize now is that my frequency had increased so much that it was just out of alignment with people who were in my life at that time, that they stepped away. It's no different than if you walk into a room and you feel the energy so low, you step away. Or maybe you walked into a room where it was just too much and you stepped away. Well, I became too much. And what I realized is, too much of what? Because the previous version of me would have denotched it. I would have taken it down to meet my environment so that I could feel more comfortable in it and the people around me would feel more comfortable. That was one of the biggest mistakes of my life, and it cost me years on my success journey. So now when somebody tells me to take it down a notch, you are guaranteed an instant 5-notch increase. If somebody is telling you you're too much, what exactly are they telling you? You're too much what? You're too happy? You're too successful? You're too positive? What exactly is too much? And then what would be the opposite of that? You'd have to be a little bit negative. You'd have to be less happy. You'd have to be sad. Really think about what somebody is telling you when they say you're too much. So the next time you might hear that, or you might feel you have to take it down to make everything comfortable, politely grab your things and move to a new table. And when you do that, please hold space for the people you just walked away from. Don't revert back, but hold space. You see, I have really high standards, and I have high expectations. But the great news is, I have every single belief that anybody can meet or exceed them, but it's up to, well, the best part's coming. But it's up to them to do it. So I have very high standards and high expectations, but the great news is I believe anybody can meet or exceed it, but it's up to them. It's not up to me, it's up to them. So when I switch tables, I keep enough chairs, I hold enough space so that anybody can come join, because I would hold every belief they can. Now there's some people that have abused it, and if they want to come to the table, they have to bring their own chair. And for a while, they might have to put it in the front yard, not even come into the room. But you need to hold space, and you need to believe. When you hit those moments of solitude, and you feel those friend circles start to change, and you're trying to hold on to what you had so tightly, I want you to recognize this moment for what it is. You have been given the gift of solitude, because it is only in the quiet recesses of your mind that you can tap into your highest vision of who and what you want to be. And you will never be able to tap into even a whisper of that if you constantly have somebody in your ear telling you you're too much, take it down. Why do you want to do that? I see people over and over again going to people for advice who have not achieved what it is that you want to achieve. Why would you do that? Go to the people who have done what it is that you want to do. Go to the people who have achieved or more what it is that you want to achieve. Don't take advice from somebody who's making $40,000 a year on how you can make $40,000 a month. They don't know how. If they did, they'd be earning it. Someone just gave me a very silent amen, but yes. When you learn to change your perspective and stay in alignment, all of these things that could have paralyzed you before now are reminders that this is the right path. Trendy people will bounce around from thing to thing, and they will always be riding the next wave. And when they do that, they never realize their fullest potential. But successful people will endure the sequence of growth, the challenges, the obstacles, and the opportunities, and those are the ones that stay around and recognize generational wealth. It is why I have been in this company for 25 years. In 25 years, I have seen some things. I have been building my business for 13 years. I have rode out the ebb and flow, the ups and downs. This is a business at the end of the day, and that's what happens in businesses. But it doesn't faze me because I don't listen to the noise and distraction, and I stay locked in on where I want to go. And I mean, fashion trends, that's one thing, that's fun. I engage in that. But I'm not going to bounce around from thing to thing. I'm going to stay, and this is how I have created generational wealth and a generational legacy. And it's all about frequency, and it's all about knowing that there are two states of consciousness. There is current results, where you are, and then there is your desired goal, where you want to be. And there is a least effortless way for you to be able to achieve these goals. You see, when you imagine it in your mind, you have to remember that your imagination is capable of achieving anything and creating anything as it is in proportion to your belief. So, you can tell me all day long that you want Royal Crown Diamonds, and I will rally you on, and I will cheer you on, and I will tell you how beautiful it is. But when you are speaking those words, what do you feel? Because sometimes when you say it, you have this feeling of doubt, or fear, or uncertainty, or hesitation, or limitation. And it doesn't work that way because you're trying to tune into an FM radio station on an AM dial. My God, that just aged me. You're trying to find something on Facebook when it was on Instagram. You cannot speak something different than you feel. The two have to match. It has to be in harmony. Everything is a frequency. So here's where you are, and I want you to imagine all these lines in between where you are and where it is that you want to go. And if you have a piece of paper right now, you can sketch this out and make this whole lesson even more powerful. So where you are is obviously then a lower frequency, a lower vibration than where you want to go, right? How many of you in here are not yet Royal Crown Diamond? Okay? Of you that are not yet Royal Crown, that means there was a lot of Royal Crown Diamonds, so that's fantastic. Where were you last week? Because I was in the Caymans. This, by the way, feels like an extended diamond retreat. Not because of the location and how amazing it is, but because all of you want to be diamond. And that is truly what has made this feel like an extension of Diamond Retreat. And I want you to just take the rest of your time here and really treat it like you are here as a diamond and just see how that feels. Like, try that on for size and see how that feels. So there's where you are, and there's Royal Crown Diamond where you want to go. Royal Crown Diamond, for those of you that have not yet achieved it, it's a higher frequency than where you are at your current results. Okay? So the only way to get there is to increase your vibration, increase your frequency, because Royal Crown Diamond is not going to decrease its frequency to reach you. Do you see what I mean? There's where you are and there's where you want to go. And whatever you have stated as your goal is not going to decrease its frequency or vibration to meet you where you are. You have to increase your vibration, your frequency, to be in harmony with the thing it is that you say you desire. Now, here's the least effortless way to get there. Current results, you are here. But desired goal, you are here. It's just two states of consciousness, where you are and where you want to go. You consciously need to be aware of where you are. And you know that. I am here, I am in Croatia, I am sitting in a chair. But you have to also be that consciously aware of where it is that you desire to go. Be consciously aware of what it's going to feel like to be a Royal Crown Diamond. What is it going to feel like the day that you get to call your spouse, your partner, your best friend and say, I just did it. It just happened. It's legit. It's real. It's done. What is that moment going to feel like? And you might say, well, Melissa, I don't know because I've never done it, so how am I supposed to say? I can tell you how I felt when I reached silver. I can't tell you how I'm going to feel when I reach Royal Crown Diamond. I'm not there yet. That's the mistake you're making. This is your imagination. You can create it any way you want to create it. You've called someone before and given them good news. Well, just amplify that. How do you want to create this future memory? And then make that your locked-in feeling now, your reality, so that you are here in the physical, but you are also here. You are consciously aware of how that's going to feel, what that's going to be like. I am rarely right here. I am usually walking around with my head in the clouds and my feet on the ground, and it's a magical place to be. The least effortless way to get to where it is you are, to where it is you want to go, is you have to fuse the two together. Creation is finished. Creation is finished. The people that you need to have in your team already exist. They're out there. The money that will be required for them to purchase the kits that will contribute to the OGV, that will get you there, already exists. And I gotta give you a spoiler alert. Nobody's running out of money. They make more every day. And in many different currencies. We're also not running out of people. I live in a town of 76 people. And my town isn't even saturated. Not to mention, people make people every day. We're not running out of people anytime soon. So there is enough people. They already exist. There is enough money. It already exists. Everything is just waiting for you. Creation is finished. It's just, oh, it's really good coming up. Creation is finished. What you want already exists. It's just been removed from your consciousness because you can only see the contents of your own consciousness. You have to increase your awareness. Increase what is possible for you. Increase the awareness of what you're capable of doing. It's within you. It just might be that something or someone around you has been suppressing it. You are everything you already need to be. You just need to bring more of you to the surface for greater and fuller expansion. And realize that there are two states of consciousness, where you want to go, and where you are. You have to make the two as real as each other. I would want you to be able to explain to me where you want to be in this company in 5 years from now in such great detail that I could taste it. You really have to create this image. Write it down. Create a self-image. My self-image is I'm so happy and grateful now that. I state it as though it's already happened. And I have it on a little goal card. And I take that goal card everywhere with me. Everywhere. It's either in my book, it's in the back of my phone. But I am so happy and grateful now that. And I write down exactly what it is that I desire as though it's already happened. And that determines everything for me. It determines how I'm going to show up. It determines how I'm going to be on social media. I mean, that's a big thing. If you're so in alignment with where you want to go, are your daily actions in alignment with where you want to go? So it determines how I show up on social media. It determines the books I read. It determines the food that I eat. It determines the people that I spend my time with. It determines the movies that I watch, the music I listen to, the podcasts I listen to. It determines everything because I know that I cannot get to where I want to go by doing the things that I'm doing now. If I do the things I'm doing now, that gets me more of what I have right now. If you want your life to change, you have to change your life. And if you're not willing to do that, you have to change the goal. But that is a harsh reality of it. And if you think, but I like my life is really good, then you've fallen into comfort and you don't desire change. If you want more, you have to realize some things are going to change and it's going to be amazing. These are the things that you need to write down and visit as many times as you can during the day so you become so locked into it. So I want you to ask yourself, what does your daily routine look like? What your physical health, your emotional health, your vitality, your circle of friends, your social media design. And I'm not talking how pretty your graphics are. You design your social media world. You choose who you follow. If you'd like to follow me on Instagram, it's Melissa_Peopping. I post very fun, beautiful, positive things. If you look at your current OGV, are all of these things in alignment with where it is you want to go? Is your physical health in alignment with where you want to go? Is your emotional health in alignment with where you want to go? Your circle of friends that you have now, can they go with you to where you want to go? All of these things right here affect your frequency every single day. Now, this doesn't mean that I just write people off. They're like, I'm sorry, you don't match my frequency today. I can't speak to you. I'm not that person. But what I do is I change the vibration of the room I walk into. I do not let the vibration of the room lower me. I deliberately seek out the company, the rooms, the environments that are a higher vibration than me. And if it's not, then I make it a goal to change the vibration of the entire room when I walk in. Do you know how to do that? Oils are a great way to start. Our oils have a frequency to them. Use them. Use a lot of them. And I always think, if you don't want to be near me because I smell like oils, the oils are working. I want you to take a second and I want you to just write down your desired OGV. If you want to, you can write down your desired income, whatever works best for you. It could be what you desire in a year from now, what you desire in 5 years from now, the farthest out you can see, whatever works for you. But I want you to write down your desired OGV. Now I want you to ask yourself something. Just look at that number for a second. Would that number change your life? Is that a life-changing number? Is that a life-changing dollar amount? Then you're going to have to change your life a little bit in order to get that. Or you're going to have to start decreasing that number to match closer to where you are and what you're willing to do. When you set your schedule, when you set your routine, when you look at the people that you are choosing to surround yourself with, just take a moment and ask yourself, is this in alignment with where I want to go? Because all of the things around you are affecting your thoughts. This is how it works. You take a picture of this, and later tonight and over the weekend and into next week, I want you to really read what these say. Everything that you see, you hear, you touch, you taste, you smell around you, all starts to form a thought within your mind. Now that's your conscious mind, and you have complete control of anything that comes in as your conscious mind. You can see something and say, I don't like that, I don't want to be a part of that. Or you can hear something on the news or the media and you can think, I don't want to pay attention to that. So you have control when it's just a thought. But all of a sudden it slips into the subconscious mind and you start to have feeling with it. Gosh, what if that happened to me? Oh wow, what if that really does happen? Oh, what if I try this and this happens? And you start to get that feeling. You start to emotionalize with it. Now it's in your subconscious mind and you don't have control over it anymore. It's a lot harder to work on it at this place. You see, most people just don't know how to think. They think about what they don't want and then they get emotionally involved with it. And whatever feeling you're holding is going to direct the action your body is taking. Don't believe me? How many of you have tried to lose 10 pounds? But you start to think, this is just so hard, this is just so difficult. Do you say those things while on your way to the gym to do an hour of intense cardio? No. Probably go sit on the couch, or you grab a snack, or you go to the fridge, because what's the point anyway? That low feeling that you emotionalize with just directed your action. If you're feeling down about your OGV and your team, and you've fallen into the recent drama du jour, are you going to feel motivated to go make care calls, go plan content, go work on the next class? No. You're gonna sit in that fear and that doubt because that's what you're emotionalizing with. And whatever action your body takes is the results you're going to get. You wanna lose weight, but you're feeling defeated, so you go grab a snack, you sit on the couch, you gain more weight. Those are the results. This is the pattern, this is how it works. You listen to what's going on, you feel defeated, you feel down, you think your OGV is depleting, and all of a sudden you do something else and scroll social media instead of working social media, and your team begins to dwindle because those are the results. So when it's still a thought, you can reject it, because you can accept or reject anything you want to. You can determine the thought, get emotionally involved with that, and that will direct your body into its action and change the results that you're getting. So now write down your current OGV. Are you happy with it? What are you going to do about it? Think about where your thoughts have been. Think about what you've been emotionalizing with. You have your desired OGV, but you're not happy with your current OGV. So what you are saying is not matching how you're feeling. You see what I mean? You have to think, believe, and do, and this gets you the results that you're after. You can't be afraid to take these steps. You can't be afraid to try something new. You can't be afraid to do what you've never done before. Gary himself said, I don't let fear control me, because if I did, I wouldn't be able to live my life. Your ability to move past all of this and straight into the good that you desire is all within you. You just need to bring it to the surface. I hope that you leave here this weekend with your plan of how to be in Japan with me next year for Diamond Retreat. And think about who you're going to see there, and think about what that experience is going to be like, and get emotionally involved with that. Start there and create that future memory. I'll see all of you in Japan.